Alright, you lot, let's have a look. Let's have a look at this little drone. It's by a company called Loolin, and I've been flying it around now for a good few weeks. In fact, it might even be over a month now. I'm not really sure, but it's been a long time. I've taken it all different places. I've taken it to work. I've taken it to the park. You know, I've flown it in the garden. I've flown it in all different places, and I think I've got enough now to about to tell you whether it's actually any good or whether it's needs some improvement. So let's actually, before in the unboxing, I did actually go around the box and the packaging, because as I said, people do take time and effort and money designing and making their boxes for their products. So, you know, it's always worth appreciating the box. A lot of people don't, but it's worth doing that. The actual little drone itself is actually pretty good. Let's zoom in on it and we can have a closer look. So this is, you know, it's a nice little small compact drone. By the way, it is very worth mentioning that in England or in the UK, if you want to be legal with this, at least, you will have to go onto the Civil Aviation website, the CAA, and you will have to register for, I think it's for a certificate, or it might be for a registration, flyer ID. I can't remember which way around it is. I've got both, obviously, because I've got my other drones, but because this is actually under 250 grams, a lot of people make the mistake thinking they don't have to go and do anything, but you do, because it has a camera. Because it has a camera, that means you have to go and you have to register. So you will have to go and do some registrations if you want to be legal with this. Just thought I'd better point that out, because a lot of people think that you don't have to do anything. So it's a very small footprint drone, very light drone, and it actually flies really well. I've got various footage of it flying around the park, flying it around at work. I tested out a lot of the features. The go home feature is a little bit to be desired. In fact, 3 times I pressed go home and it didn't go home. It shot off somewhere and that was the end of that. One time the battery was getting a bit low and I thought I'll come into land. It went into automatic go home mode and it shot off and then landed at the top of a cliff, and I had to go and do some climbing to get it down from the top of this cliff. Well, the little Loolin drone has vanished. It went into random go home mode and it's gone up there. Yeah, it went up there and I think it hit fence and it's like there somewhere. It was buzzing around for about 5 minutes, buzzing down there. So I'm going to go and try and find a way up there and see if I can get it back. Hopefully I can. It's quite a way up. Let's have a look at the rest of it. So the instruction manual. The instruction manual is, in my opinion, quite well thought out. The translate, I don't know about the other languages, obviously, because I don't speak any other languages. You've got Spanish and all of that. What other languages is there? Let's have a look. It might tell us in the contents or the index. There we go. So the other languages that we've got: Spanish. Well, the languages: Danish, and that's probably German, French, Italian, and Spanish. All of those languages, you know, are the ones that are in this book, and obviously I don't speak those. But the English appears to be fairly well thought out, very well written. There are a few little bits in there you think to yourself, that doesn't make any sense, but you get that in all instruction books. That's just the way it is. You got a little quick start guide as well. That's pretty handy. Pretty much basic stuff, obviously, but it's enough to get you going if you can't be bothered to read the real book. which is handy. So that's all good. Now you get 2 chargers. The reason you get 2 of them is obviously because you get 2 batteries. One battery is currently in the little drone and the other one is here. Flight time on these, I typically seemed to see, and bearing in mind I was flying around relatively quick because I was trying, well, I wanted to see what it was capable of, to be honest with you, around about half an hour to 40 minutes. And that's with obviously the camera rolling as well and all that kind of stuff. So they're pretty good little batteries each. I mean, I can't complain about that for this particular size of drone anyway, the category of it. That's quite a good battery time. Oh look, there's a propeller there, get back in there. And the other charger is for the transmitter, which is in here still. A little bit of foam that protects it. And there's the transmitter. Oh, by the way, this little case is really nice. I really like it. It feels good. It's got a little pocket at the front. It's got little pockets inside there. The zip feels good. It's got a nice little strap to it. It feels like seatbelt material. This is a really good little case actually. So top marks to Loolin there for the case, because I really, really like that. So one thing to note and to remember is you've got USB plugs. All of these are USB plugs, right? But it doesn't actually come with like a charger. It doesn't actually come with like the plug to plug them into. Some people call it an adapter or a brick or whatever. It doesn't come with that. So you're going to have to either go and buy one or find one you've already got and use it. And if you want to charge both batteries at the same time and the transmitter, you're going to need 3 separate plugs. I didn't have any of these plugs, so I had to go and buy one. But I'm sure, I mean, if you plug it into a computer, it'll charge very, very slow, because you need 2 amps in order to charge the batteries at the rated rate, which is 3.5 hours from fully flat. Just bear that in mind as something to me which is important, because I was a bit disappointed. In fact, Loolin, if you're watching this, you should include a power adapter plug in the box, because that would be very, very handy. Not everybody has USB plugs, The transmitter, this I like. It is very light, which is, well, I don't know, to be honest, I like heavy stuff, but it is light. A lot of people do like the light stuff because they don't want to carry something heavy, because perhaps they're just a bit weak, I don't know. And it's made relatively good quality. I mean, you've got the little charging plug down there. You plug your wire in to charge the battery up inside it. The battery is 3.7 volts and it's a LiPo, believe it or not, and it's 380 milliamps. If we can ever get a focus on that, which we might do in about 6 years. There we go. That's the battery in the transmitter, and little antenna there pops up. Now, one thing I was particularly impressed about, and there's a lot of drones out there, including the expensive ones, naming no names, where your phone won't actually fit in the thing. A lot of them out there, one of them I've got where you put the phone at the bottom. You have to take your phone out of any of your cases in order to fit it in. It won't fit otherwise, because it would be too fat, which is annoying, because I like keeping my phone in my case. So every time I want to use my other drone, I have to take out the phone of the case and put it in, and then slot it in there, and then do it the other way around. I know you can shave down the little rubber things and they'll make it fit, but I don't like doing that kind of stuff. This I was very impressed with, because look, that's brilliant. This, and you can do that. There you go. There's your phone, and it's in. It's brilliant. This is, it's quite a well thought out, and it's not top heavy really either. I mean, you've got your little handles there. You put your fingers around there like that, and then you can go. Brilliant. Or if you do it the way I do it, see, I like to use my fingers like that to do the sticks. That's a bit awkward, really. You get a bit more control if you use the tips of your fingers, in my experience. 20 years of flying stuff and doing RC stuff, I've got a technique where I like to use the tips of my fingers to get a bit more control. Using your thumbs is okay, but yeah, it's good enough controller. The buttons, the clicky buttons, you know, that's what they are, clicky little buttons. You're on and you're off. Yeah, really good. The thing is, you got to remember is your phone with the app, which we'll go through in a minute. We'll go through the app that you need to use in order to. You don't need to use it to fly it. You can fly the drone without the phone at all. It'll fly by itself. But if you want to use all of the features and the GPS and all the other stuff, you need to connect your phone to it. So we'll go through that in a minute. So it's not connected by a cable. Some of the other drones out there, the more expensive ones, you connect via a cable, which is really good because it means you've got unlimited connection. You know, there is no way it's going to break. The connection is not going to break, you know, lose connection or whatever unless your cable's at it. But with this one, it's connected by Wi-Fi. So, you know, there is the possibility there that you might lose the signal. But it's good. It's quite a good thing. So let's get the app going and I'll show you all the features on the app and then we can go from there. So here is my my best attempt at trying to get you to see this. So this is the app that you need to use. It's called Loolin Air, and you've got about Wi-Fi band there. You've got some information, tips and stuff about the Wi-Fi. You've got app instructions. It basically tells you about how to use the app more than anything else. Then you've got RC instructions, tells you how to use the transmitter and all the little buttons, what they do, things like that. And then you've got tutorial video, which I did watch and it was fairly reasonable, and gallery. I don't know what's in gallery. Bloody photos. Then you've got the Loolin store, which I'm assuming you can buy stuff. You've got settings. Oh, go away. You've got settings. You know, you can update. You can captions and band switching. Obviously, we're in United Kingdom because that's where we are. That, by the way, will come preset to China, so you'll need to change that to your country, wherever you are. Remember to do that. Yeah, split screen and all that kind of stuff. So once you've done that, have a look through there, you need to do this and it takes you through onto the calibration page. It does say in the instructions very clearly that you need to calibrate the drone and go through these steps every single time you get your drone out to fly it. Alright, but anyway, it takes you through the preparation, calibrate the drone, do what it says, press calibration, blah blah blah, carry on. And then you got another one, you got the compass calibration, so you got to do what it says and carry on with life. And then you can start. Please be careful, keep a distance of more than 3 meters between you and the drone. Oh dear. Anyway, so there we go, we've got this, and you can do that to zoom in and out on your camera if you want to. You know, you've got your GPS map there. When we're currently in optical mode, that's just because we're indoors and the compass, the GPS can't get a good enough signal. So you've got all the different settings here. You can choose whether you want the phone. You can use these joysticks to actually fly the drone, or you can change it to using the transmitter as you would do normally. You've got 50%, so this is like whether you want it to be fully like fast, or if you just want sort of half speed, you know, everything's a bit slower, you can go down to 50%. You've got camera mode, or you've got filming mode. You've got the little button there to start filming or whatever. You've got unlock, that unlocks the drone, starts the props going round, and then you've got takeoff. You've got gimbal here, we'll move the, oh, it's not actually working, but it's a good advertisement. That moves your gimbal up and down, like I say, and you've got all your features here. And I tried every single one of these features, and they all seem to work without any issue. You've got the waypoints, you've got one here that circle round you, and that seemed to work without any problem. And you've got one here where it just sort of, I don't really know what it's supposed to do, but I pressed it and it sort of flew around, followed me along. I think they call that one Follow Me or something like that. Anyway, it follows you. And then you've got home. We spoke about home. That's a bit iffy. It did work. I tell you what, it works probably sort of 95% of the time. If you press it, it will come and land more or less where the home point is set on the map down there. But there was a few times, which I've already spoke about, where it kind of just flew off. And yeah, that was the end of that. I had to go and find it. It went nowhere near the home point, and it just went, off it goes. See you later. You got your gallery, you got some settings up here. I don't know what they do, random. Oh, then we've got beginner mode. I had it in beginner mode because I was letting my kids fly. You can choose your altitude. And remember, in England, I think this is in meters, which is, so in England, the highest you can fly any drone without permission from the Civil Aviation Authority is 400 feet or 120 meters. But this is set in meters, I do believe, and it'll only let you go 100. So, which is good, you know, because it won't let you go any higher than you should be going. The distance 500 meters. I'm assuming that's meters. It must be. I don't know what else they'd have in there. Just definitely not feet. Yep. And then you got that. I don't know what it does. You got VR mode, so you can, you know, have both cameras. Because don't forget, there is a camera on the bottom. Yeah. As well, down there, there is also a camera, so you can see the floor, which is always fun. Take out of VR mode, and then you've got, yes, well, that shows the floor. There we go, that shows the floor, and then that one goes back to the front camera there. That's in Chinese for some reason, that little piece of writing that you see there. I don't know why that's in Chinese. The rest of it is in English, but that little bit there is in Chinese for some reason. Then you've got all your data there, your height, your distance, your other stuff. Just the big red stop is the emergency stop. You press that and it'll literally fall out the sky. I pressed it and it literally fell out the sky. It didn't even say, are you sure? It just went boop. I was like, whoa, okie dokie. And then you got your signal and optical mode. That'll change to GPS if you get satellites. We won't do indoors. Yeah, battery and all the other good stuff. There we go. That's the app pretty much covered. Oh, one thing that I will say, and I think it's quite important to cover, is because this is, well, I don't really know the reason, but I'm assuming it's because it's just like it's a 5G Wi-Fi connection between the drone and your phone, or the drone and the transmitter and your phone, whatever. It's 5G Wi-Fi. However, I have noticed if you go, I mean, it's literally like you go, I don't know, 20 or 30, 40 feet away, the picture will freeze. Alright, the picture on here will freeze. There's several times I've been flying this and the picture's frozen. And I could hear the drone, I could see the drone, and I could still fly the drone. There was no problem. I had no signal loss between the transmitter and the drone. I had full control still, but the picture on here had frozen. So I had to bring it closer and then you get your picture back. So it's not any good for long distance or even longish distance, but it's, if you're going to be flying it around in a park, having a bit of fun with it, it's really good. You're going to keep your signal, keep your picture, everything's going to be absolutely fine. So it's just something to bear in mind. If you've got it in VR mode, you know, you're potentially at risk of crashing, basically. Speaking of crashing, as I said, this little drone actually it flew off. I think the worst crash that I had with it was when it flew off. The battery got down to whatever percentage, I'm not really sure. All of a sudden I'm thinking I'm going to come into land now, and I'm quite close. I'm in this big open field, and all of a sudden it went into automatic go home mode. The emergency stop didn't do anything, and it shot off, and it literally went into a fence at the top of a cliff, and I could hear it buzzing around. Now, a testimony to how good it really is, and I didn't think it was going to survive. I literally thought, that's it, it's at it. I'm going to go up there and find it, and one of the little legs is going to be snapped off, the props are going to be broken, something's going to be broken on it. But no, it's here, and it's it's still going strong, and I've flown it around many times since, and there's nothing wrong with it. It's literally built like a tank. It's quite amazing. There's the other battery, by the way. There it is. Nice little thing, really. It's quite a nice design, the way they've done that. I quite like that. It's like one of those aircrafts, isn't it? You know. No, it is really good. The one thing you do have to remember is, though, it hasn't got obstacle avoidance. It's got no sensors on it. It's got no radar things. It's got nothing. Whatever you want to call them, it hasn't got it. So, and it says this in the instruction book quite clearly, that it will not avoid objects. Alright? So, you need to remember that it has got cameras. You can still crash it. You'll fly it into a wall. You'll fly it into a thing or whatever, a car, a person, because it won't avoid it. It won't stop. It'll just keep going because it doesn't know that it's there. So, when you're using the features like the follow me and the circle one and the waypoints, you've got to remember that even though you've set it to do something on its own, it's not going to avoid an obstacle. So don't think to yourself, oh, there's a wall over there and there's a wall over there. I'm going to set it to circle around me and it'll just avoid all the walls and just go around me. It won't do that. It'll go around, and if there's a wall in its way, it will hit it. So just remember that it hasn't got obstacle avoidance. But to be honest, if you've got any common sense, you don't need obstacle avoidance. So, you can, if you want to, you can stick a memory card up its bottom there and film in pretty reasonable quality. I think it's 2K footage you can film in if you really want to with an SD card. Or if you haven't got an SD card installed, you've got your phone connected, as long as you've allowed access, you can just save the videos and the pictures straight to your phone camera album. And you'll get that, and that'll only be in 1080p. Well, I say only. 1080p is still pretty good. I mean, I remember when it'd only be like 360p on these type of drones. But now you can get 1080p saved straight to your phone without an SD card. And I reckon that's pretty good. But if you want to film in that little bit of high detail, that 2K, stick an SD card in, and that's what it will do. And as far as I can tell, it'll automatically switch between the two, depending what you've got installed. Here's a little bit of footage that I took in the park with the kids. You've got 2K with an SD card, and then you've got 1080p without an SD card saved directly to the phone. And as you'll see on the screen, the footage I've left completely raw. Haven't done anything to it. That is exactly how it come off the drone, the way that you see it, like that. The size of it, everything. So, right, it's on the takeoff pad. Let's take off and see how far it will drift away from the pad after it's taken off. Should go to about 1.2 meters, I think. Yeah, 1.2 meters it'll go to. The drone will take off automatically and go to 1.2 meters. Here we go. Oh, it's already gone over there. Well, it does drift quite a bit. For a GPS drone. It's gone all the way over here now, look. It's going higher by itself though. Oh dear. Pretty cool though. It's got a camera underneath as well. I think we can turn the camera on underneath by pressing on that button there. Yeah? Eat? You want some food? Alright, we're going to have a look in a bit. For the price point of this drone, I would say it's a really good buy, and I would say if you're looking at getting into flying little drones, or you want a drone with a camera to check your roof, or just for kids to play around with, to try and get them into cinema for cinematography, or just drone flying, or anything like that, or even if you're an adult and you know you want to get into flying drones with cameras and that, to try and make some cool little film sketches or whatever, man, it ain't a bad choice, to be honest with you. It really ain't. But do remember you lot, it doesn't have a gimbal. All right, the camera will move with your instruction. You move it on with the your phone, and you can move it down and up, you know, to see different angles, but you can't go side to side. But it hasn't got a gimbal, so the footage you have to really practice and get good at flying it straight, you know, so that your footage isn't too shaky. I just thought that was important to point out, because a lot of people might not know the difference between a gimbal and a camera that moves. Obviously a gimbal keeps your footage steady, and a camera that moves literally is just a camera that moves. But I never really found this a problem, because if you fly steady enough and keep it a nice hover and looking around, you know, your footage is good enough. So I really think that the technology for these lower end drones has come along massively in the last few years. I was only saying it to my wife the other day, you know. We've got a box of all the old drones, you know, the little ones and all that from 10 or 15 years ago. And, you know, round about this sort of price point. And they're nowhere near as good as this. This is real contender for the higher end drones, as far as I'm concerned anyway. So, yeah. That's all I've got to say, really. If you're looking into going to have a look at some drones like this, you know, there's always going to be some you know, not so good points, but they've done quite a good job, I reckon, in engineering this little thing. And as I say, it's pretty tough. So yeah, there you go, you lot. A little drone, a Z6Pro, comes with everything you need basically. Really good. I'm going to go and keep flying it around, and we'll see what kind of footage and all of that we can get over the years. I've put my daughter in charge of it, so I was like, this is your one to fly around. Whatever we get with it, the footage and all that kind of stuff, it's all going to be down to you. So videos to come, you lot, videos to come of the places we can get it going. So, thanks for watching, you lot. Really appreciate you all being here, checking out this little drone with me. If you like this kind of stuff, stick around. Reviews and all that kind of stuff. Drones, RC cars, and everything else you can imagine to do with RC. Stick around, repairing old ones, etc, etc. I'll catch you on the next one. All the best, you lot. Take care. Love life. Love each other. Everyone is the same, no matter who you are. See you later, you lot.